Hello, I'm Seb Cox, the director and cinematographer of both Tide of Ghosts and The Last Pixie. I'm here today to talk about my experiences and approaches to cinematography. I started using cameras when I was 7 years old. I would use my dad's old tape camera to make short films with my neighbours. We got to play around with imagery and what we could do with the camera. As time went on and I gradually explored more, I actually started in a visual effects background because when I was 11 I started to learn Adobe After Effects. But not so long after that, my focus was actually more drawn to cinematography over visual effects. I could see emotions in images, and I find that the most wonderful thing to me as an artist is being able to capture an emotion and then be able to implant it into a thing that someone can watch and see and then feel that emotion and experience that emotion. That is the number one goal that I have with my work. In terms of my approach for Tide of Ghosts and The Last Pixie, I actually started with my background in street photography. You are constantly trying to reframe and design a scene or a moment or capture a moment that can tell a story, and if you can, trigger some emotional response from that as well. We were very much working on the fly with the cinematography. A lot of the lighting was very much on the go. In some films I do plan out every light, every temperature of that light, every brightness of that light, every lens to the exact millimeter that we're going to use. But with Tide of Ghosts, I very much left the lighting off the table when planning because I knew that we were going to have to be just getting down to a shoot when we can. We can't be picky with what the weather's like. We just have to go for it. So that's what we did. In terms of the lighting style, I did want it very naturalistic because we were touching on something paranormal. I love to blend fantasy and reality. Or I think the genre is specifically called magical realism, where you bring a fantasy element into the real world. The main thing really in terms of Tide of Ghost cinematography is the framing, the composition. Because of my experience in street photography, it lends itself perfectly to this kind of film where we have these incredible landscapes and you are trying to very quickly on the fly see a composition that portrays the moment of sadness, of being lost in this other world, this detachment from reality. In terms of The Last Pixie, the colours in that I went for were a lot more vibrant. It was a film which is a lot lighter than Tide of Ghosts, but it still has that hinge between realism and fantasy. Thank you for watching this breakdown of the cinematography for Tide of Ghosts and The Last Pixie. If you want to follow more of my work, you can find it at sebcox.com or you can follow my social media at sebcoxfilms.